Hey there, coaches. It is Sanai here. How are you doing? So happy 4th of December. Welcome to this live stream. I thought I would put this live stream together for you. This is a free training, and I've called it my top 10 success principles for increasing prosperity, productivity, and passion in your business, and of course your life, because it all kind of filters outwards. And the reason I put this together is I've been reviewing my year and making plans for 2019. And I wanted to share with you these principles because they've totally transformed my business, my success, my results, and my life. And the reason I've sort of have been spending time reviewing them and kind of isolating them and pulling them out as individual principles is because they've been very obvious to me. And the reason they've been very obvious to me is this year I embarked on a project. And I'm going to reveal more about the project in due course. But I sort of described this project as I put myself in a Petri dish. And every day I journaled, and I'm a journaler anyway, but this year I really spent time analyzing my every thought, my every feeling, my every move. And as a result of that, was able to really take mastery, I guess, over my mind and my results. And so I wanted to share with you the top 10 learnings that I have really either learned for the first time this year or really got my head around for the first time this year, or that I've embraced more than ever as being contributors to my ability to take the action that I've taken, to complete the projects, to be productive and really 10x my prosperity and my joy, my sense of joy, not postponing joy, but really living into it every single day. So I am excited to share these with you. So they're in no particular order, as I was just kind of writing them out and just let them flow. So they are in no particular order of importance. They are just as they kind of came off the pen, really. So kind of to start with, the first principle for success to increase your prosperity, your productivity, and your passion is to know yourself. So this kind of feeds into the fact that this year I have been the subject of my own experiment. I have been in my own Petri dish and really shone a spotlight on myself, and what a transformational change that has created in my life and in my ability to help my clients. When you shift internally, when you expand and grow internally, then everyone benefits and everything else around you changes too. So principle number one is to really get to know yourself. Hold a mirror up to yourself, both kind of physically hold a mirror up and metaphorically. What are you reflecting moment to moment? It's all very well, and I'm a prolific reader, and I would always recommend, I should have put this would be an 11th principle, is to read. But it's all very well to read all the books, to read the self-development, and I know myself, I've read so many different books. But if we're still creating the same results, in spite of all this knowledge, we're not seeing the results we want, in spite of the books that we've read and the incredible amount of sort of intellectual property that is in these books, then we have to go within. We have to shine a spotlight on ourselves, because it's all within us. So that would be my first principle, is really get to know yourself. What are your values? What are your values? Those driving intrinsic motivators that will have you showing up every single day, doing what you want to do, having a life that you love. So get to know what your values are and then live by them. As you know your values, you come to realize and recognize what works for you and what doesn't, and that can really help you determine and make really empowering decisions for yourself and the direction of your business. Okay, so the second principle is exercise. there's a book called Spark, and I'm trying to think of the name now. It's just escaped me. John Rafey, I think. But this book, Spark, has proven that exercise makes you smarter in terms of the change that it makes to your brain. And I totally buy that. I would agree with that. But for me personally, I know the difference when I have been exercising, and I'm a runner. So for me, going out running, it just shifts so much of my mood. It opens up my channels of creativity. I feel so much more resourceful. I come home with a clear head. I feel so happy. And of course, we're just moving our bodies, because if we're sat at our computers all day long or sat looking down at our phones, it's bad for our posture. It's bad for our blood circulation and our heart. So it's so important to get out there and move your body and unleash that blood flow to your brain and to reduce your stress levels. So that's a really important principle. So if you haven't been doing that, mark it into your plan for 2019, that every single day you're going to do something to move your body, even if it's going out for a brisk walk or jumping around your front room to good music for 10 minutes. Whatever it is, just get moving. It will shift everything for you. The third principle is to learn to analyze your results. So know that your results never lie. So if you're producing results that are unsatisfactory to you, that you're not happy with, and you are perhaps consistently creating the same result month in, month out, maybe even year in, year out, if you're producing consistent results that are unsatisfactory, then learn to stop and analyze them, because what they are reflecting back to you is a thought process, a belief, a mindset that you have. And the crazy thing is, and we see it all the time, and Einstein declared it as the definition of insanity. If we then continue to do the same thing and we continue to get those unsatisfactory results, and we're not changing anything internally, then nothing's going to change. That's crazy. So learn to analyze your results. Learn to look at those results and dial in to what must I be thinking. What must my mindset be in order to create this perpetual result? Whether it's an income amount, if you're stuck at creating 5,000 a month and you can't seem to lift the lid on that and go any higher, or perhaps you do break through that and then the following month you're brought straight back down, then you have a mindset around money that is fixed at a certain level. So you've got to learn to analyze your results and take the time to dial back through your thoughts and then your feelings to discover what's the thought process that is creating these results. Your results might be every week you get to Friday and you feel frustrated that you haven't got everything done, and you seem to perpetuate that result. That was me. Every single Friday I would beat myself up for having had a week that didn't quite meet up to my expectations. And so I'd come to expect, oh, here we go, Friday, it's going to be a day where I'm frustrated, I'm beating myself up, but then I kind of renew my enthusiasm and get ready for Monday, and, burst into the week like a bull out of a gate. Then come Friday, I'm beating myself up because I didn't get everything done. That was a result. And I needed to stop myself and analyze those results and dial in to what's the thinking that always creates that result. And so when you can learn to do that, it is so empowering. You start to realize, this is my mindset. It's all mindset. So the fourth principle that I have for you here is, hi, I see people are joining, but I can't see who. I'm so sorry. So the fourth success principle for increasing prosperity, productivity, and passion in your business and indeed your life is to take risks. Risk-taking is so powerful because what it does is it creates new neural pathways in favor of a bigger, better life. It breaks old habitual patterns that are keeping you stuck in a cycle of these unsatisfactory results that we spoke about. So taking those risks will get you out of that loop. It kind of shows you, it opens doors for you. So what might risk look like? It depends on where you're at specifically, but a risk might look like pitching for to do a speaking gig when you're not ready, or creating a speaking event before you've planned it out when you're not really ready, saying yes to something before you feel ready, because there is nothing like an urgent deadline to make you get ready, to drive your focus, to help you step up and create the event, the gig, the presentation that you need to create. Making an investment, any large investment feels risky. You know, when I invested in my car, it felt risky, but oh my God, it changed my life in terms of, you know, I had a year without a car. And I thought I'd be okay. I work from home. I don't need a car. I'll share with my partner, Jeremy. I'll use his car for the year. I didn't realize quite how that was impacting me. I felt like I'd lost my independence. I felt, just like I had to wait for somebody. Well, I did. I had to wait for somebody to come home so I could use the car just to run errands. I needed to ask every time I wanted to go somewhere during the day, like take my daughter to an appointment. I had to ask, make arrangements if I could have the car that day. Everything felt really slowed down, inconvenient. And when I realized my highest value is independence, no wonder I found it really difficult to live without a car. So I took the risk and I invested in a car. And that was one of the best things I ever did for myself. Investing in coaching. Taking a risk and investing in a coach for yourself, for your business. It feels risky at the time, but in making that investment, I always believe it's part of the coaching. It shifts who you're being. It shifts how you show up. It says you believe in yourself, that you value yourself in some way, on some deeper level. It could be for you, a risk is go live. Press that go live button and just do it. It could be submit an article to a magazine, to a publication. Could be book a celebrity speaker for an event. So I'll just share a very quick story. 2 years ago, I went to Boston. My coach hosted a business retreat, very selective retreat, just 10 women in a beautiful hotel in Boston. And she took a chance. She rang Jack Canfield, or she contacted the Jack Canfield office and asked if he would come to this event. And he said yes. And he was there. And that's how I got to meet him. I got to work with him and went on to become a Canfield Success Principles trainer. She took a risk. She didn't know whether he would kind of laugh her out of the door or what. As it happened, when he turned up at this event in Boston and he spoke to us, he actually said, people believe that I'm too busy, so nobody rings me. Nobody books him because they believe that he's got this packed out schedule, and who do they think they are ringing Jack Canfield? And he says, I'm available, and I would love to come for a fee, of course. But what an incredible thing. So Becky, my coach, she took a risk and it paid off, and it changed who she believed herself to be. She expanded her self-perception, which is incredibly empowering. Okay, so principle number 5 is master your mind. Now, this really will transform everything for you. And this follows the principle of how you do anything is how you do everything. So I want you to think about some attribute, some quality or characteristic that you perhaps berate yourself for lacking. So perhaps you say to yourself, I'm not disciplined, or I can never stick to a schedule. I wish I had more confidence. I'm not confident enough, or I don't have enough self-value or self-worth to charge those kind of prices, or whatever it is. If you have a quality or an attribute that you wish you had more of, but you berate yourself for not having enough of, lack of control when it comes to credit cards or whatever it could be. If it's a quality or an attribute that makes you feel bad, what has happened is you've probably habituated yourself to notice that lack everywhere. in everything you do, and you try and start, if it's say a lack of discipline and you decide you want to start a new project, and you stop within a week, and then you beat yourself up for being undisciplined, for not being able to stick at something. Or if you paid a credit card off and you promised yourself you'd exercise more control and you wouldn't use that card, and then something came up and you used that card, and then you berate yourself for having no control. What you're doing all the time is you're habituating yourself and kind of perpetuating that mindset of lack in that particular attribute, because that's all you're noticing. It's because of conditioning. So the way to change that for this principle is to begin to notice where you display that attribute in other areas of your life. Because when you focus on that, not having that attribute, you make it bigger, you expand it, you focus on it, you see it all the time. You forget that actually you do have that attribute in abundance, but you're not focused on where it's working for you. You're ignoring all of that. You're starting to, because that, again, is habit. You're taking it for granted. So, for example, if you complain, beat yourself up for having a lack of discipline, every day, start to notice, write it down every day, 10 things every night where you noticed where you did actually display that attribute, where you do have that attribute in abundance. So you take discipline as the example. Every night you could sit down with your pen and you list out 10 areas where you did exercise discipline. Every day you get up and you brush your teeth. You have a discipline there. Every day you cook meals and you clean up after yourself. You are disciplined. Perhaps you look at your CD cabinet or your DVD cabinet and it is so neat and tidy and it's kept that way. It's because you are disciplined. All your bills are paid on time. You are disciplined. And if you were to write out, it's baby steps, but start to notice everywhere else that you exercise and display that attribute, and focus on it, because how you do anything will become how you do everything in that area. It's just your focus, the things that you're ignoring because they feel small. Well, this is about taking baby steps. So notice where you're exercising that attribute and celebrate it. One exercise I love to do where people suffer from a lack of self-worth and self-value, and that really impacts their ability to charge premium rates or charge the kind of money they want to charge for their coaching services, is start to increase where you notice your self-value. Focus on it. So again, every night, get your journal out and write out, just do this for 7 days, 10 things that day where you were valuable, where you added value. Hey, Anjana, good to see you. I see people are on, but I can't see who. I'm so sorry. I just saw your thumbs up there. So it could be simply that I added value today when I rang my mum and we had a giggle on the phone. I added value today when I presented a lovely meal for my family. I was valuable today when I helped somebody on Facebook, when I solved a problem, I answered a question. I added value today when I smiled to someone in the street and I could see I made their day. So every single day, focus on the areas where you did add value. I am back home, Anjana, back in the office, back at work. So that is principle number 5. It moves on, it works along the lines of how you do anything is how you do everything. And so if there's any attribute that you feel you're lacking in, notice where you have it strong and start focusing on that, and start to build up and celebrate where you do have that, because then you will notice it will start to trickle into the other areas of your life and your business. Okay, principle number 6, you know this, guys, but it would be remiss of me to miss it because it is so important, and that is to have a daily gratitude practice and an appreciation practice. Every day, make a list of those things that you are most grateful for, because you are, in effect, celebrating every single day. And when you celebrate what you feel great about, what you're happy for, what you love about in your life, what you appreciate, you're basically sending in a message out to the universe. This is what I want more of. Gratitude is giving thanks, and when you give thanks, you receive back in return, as opposed to taking for granted. So give thanks every single day. It raises your vibration to that which you are celebrating. that which you are loving, and that is what will attract more to you. Every night, this is a great exercise for, you know, attracting more in, being appreciative and feeling grateful for everything that you have already, is every night have a book of Post-it notes by your bed, and every night commit to writing down on one Post-it note per night the best thing that happened to you that day. Because what that will do is not only will you be writing out the best thing that happened to you that day, which will feel great, but you're training your brain. Your brain will be darting about like a bee on flowers, looking for all the lovely things to try and filter out which one was the best. And so you're training yourself again to have a really positive stream of consciousness by focusing on what was the best part of my day. Sometimes I write 3 or 4 because I just think they were all the best parts of my day, but it means I'm training myself to focus on everything that was positive, everything that I have to be grateful for and appreciate in my life. And what a blissful way to fall asleep. Okay, so principle number 7 is flood your subconscious with whatever it is you want. Flood your subconscious with it. Jim Rohn, late great Jim Rohn, says, if you want to build wealth in your life, if you want to get wealthier, read about wealth, read about money. If you want to get healthier, read about health. If you want to be happier, read about happiness. This is so important. When you can flood your subconscious with the subject that you want to generate, that you want to achieve more of in your life, you are shifting your state of being. As Napoleon Hill would call it, auto-suggestion. As you begin to read more books about the subject that you want to get better in, this topic that you want more of, whether it's been money, health, happiness, joy, as you read more about it and study the subject, it literally becomes a part of who you are. Becomes a part of your DNA, it becomes a part of your genetic structure, shifts who you're being at your very core. I've just seen Sophia join and I'm laughing because we had a private joke about who you're being at your core. But so you know, what is your goal? What's the goal? If your goal is to write a book, then go read books on how to write a book. Go source out YouTube videos on how to write a book, because the more you hear that stuff and you read that stuff, it makes it possible for you. You start to train yourself that I can do this. This is possible. You know, I remember 4+ years ago when I started thinking about starting a business, I went straight to the bookshop library. I bought 3 books and they're all on my shelf there. Start Your Own Business, Success as a Business, Success in Business, and the Small Business Startup book. And there was another book I bought as well, something like From Bedroom to Boardroom in 90 Days. But I bought a bunch of books. And as I was reading them, I started to really hone in on the fact that, wow, this is possible, because you're reading case studies of people that literally went from bedroom to boardroom, and you're flooding your subconscious through the process of auto-suggestion that it is possible for you. And so you're more willing to take the action that you need to take. Also, as with flooding your subconscious, focus with vision boards, sticky notes, affirmations, mantras. It is all very, very powerful for shifting the way you think and flooding the subconscious with the thoughts, the mindset that you want to adapt, the mindset that will help you to achieve what it is you want to achieve. Okay, so principle number 8. Hey guys, thanks for joining. More people are joining. I can't see comments. I'm so sorry. So principle number 8 is take 100% responsibility. Nothing happens in isolation of you. Nothing in your experience is possible. Nothing can happen in your nothing can happen in your experience without you. So you have to take full 100% responsibility for everything that happens in your life. Know that any experience, anything that you currently see as your reality is just a physical manifestation of your prior thoughts, feelings, and actions, or possibly neglect if you didn't take action, and that's why the result you're getting is the result you're getting. So know that everything that you're experiencing right now is a physical manifestation of thoughts, feelings, and actions that happened previously, whether it was weeks ago, days ago, yesterday. It matters not, but it all comes from you. You have total ultimate control. And so even how you perceive something is entirely within your control. You have a choice how you want to perceive something. So yesterday I was having a conversation with an incredible coach, amazing lady who was starting to feel kind of beaten down by social media. She was starting to just say, everyone's out there just selling their stuff, and it's just noise, and it's just, and I'm just drowning in all of that, and there's no real value. I just feel like I'm being sold to. It was a choice how she chose to perceive social media on that particular day. And by staying along that track, she would very quickly have diminished her confidence, probably felt disengaged with the whole showing up thing on social media, and cut herself off from attracting her ideal clients into her beautiful business. So it was her choice. She could then choose, knowing that this thought wasn't serving her because it was making her feel bad, she could then choose to shift her point of focus and recognize that actually, I don't want to think like that. That's not helpful. And I'm only seeing all these posts because that's my point of attraction. That's my focus. So to decide then to focus on instead, I know that my ideal clients are out there and they need me to show up to hear what I have to say because I have value to add. I want to share my message because it is important that my ideal clients hear it. And if just one person hears it today, my work here is done for today and I can sleep well at night. If you have that point of focus, you will start to attract people messaging you, reaching out to you, thanking you for your posts, and you won't see any of the other stuff. So it's always a choice. You have 100% responsibility in how you perceive your reality too, whether you're going to allow it to serve you or not. That's your choice. And it means you have total power, not blaming anybody else, not blaming some external experience, not whining or moaning about anything that you feel is beyond your control. Take your power back. It's all within your control. You have ultimate control over your reality. Okay, so principle number 9 is take immediate action on the back of a decision. If you have an inspired download, and you know it's an inspired download because it feels amazing in the moment. You know when you have a great idea that just like instantly lights you up. Take action the minute you have that download. Make a commitment, even if it's writing that idea on paper, even if, right now, wherever you are, you cannot take immediate action, make a note. If that, even just that action of committing your idea to paper and promising yourself that you're going to come back to it later that day, set an alarm to go back to it, that is taking action immediately after a decision is made. Because when you do that, you're more likely to follow through on the decision and not just let it kind of peter out and then remember, oh, I had a great idea once, but nothing ever came of it. When you take immediate action on the back of a decision, or on the back of an inspired idea, you instantly start gathering momentum. It is incredible how quickly it happens, because in those short moments after that decision is made, that inspired download happens, you have no resistance. You are high vibe in that moment. So there is no resistance. So that when you can take action straight after the decision, momentum happens very, very quickly. It's only when you start to leave it and you cogitate and you overthink it that then the resistance kind of comes up. And I do this action because I just imagine it's like a great big wall. Resistance like a wall that comes up. So all those, resources and people and ideas, they can't get to you because you've put up that resistance. So take action immediately. quick story I want to share with you about how powerful this is when I made a decision that I wanted to speak, I wanted to be a speaker. I've always for the last 4 years I've wanted to speak, and I've trained to be a speaker. But last year I'd kind of let that fall down because I was, so busy in the online coaching world. And last year I had this niggle that I really wanted to do something. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then I had the idea, that's it. I want to be a speaker. I want to host an event or be at an event and speak live. That came to me in a flash. So the minute I had that idea, I wrote in my journal, I am a highly sought after speaker. That was my action. Within 12 hours of writing that down, I got my next inspired idea of what the event was going to be about. The title was so clear to me. And so instead of hanging around or thinking about it or starting to try and create the event and add the nuts and bolts, I just looked in my calendar, pinpointed a date, and then I did a live stream on my personal profile immediately. And that live stream was the thing that I had, it kind of sealed the deal that I'd set a date. I didn't have any of the nuts and bolts. I didn't know the real content. I just had the title. And I did a live stream on my personal profile and announced this really exciting event. I can't wait. It's on this particular day. And that was that. Within a couple of days, I then got an invitation for a paid speaking gig, just 60 minutes, paid speaking gig, all expenses paid, in Amsterdam to a corporate audience. And it was an international audience. There were people with headphones on and interpreters in booths at the back of the room. And there I was on this stage being paid to speak. And I could never have predicted that when I decided I want to be a speaker. I am a highly sought after speaker, and I took immediate action. And the momentum was the groundswell was so immediate that I got this invitation. It was better than I could have predicted. I got paid to speak and flown to Amsterdam. It was just out of this world. So that is why it's so important to take action in that moment when there is zero resistance and you're kind of on that high vibe of, excitement. Okay, so hey, LA, nice to see you, honey. So principle number 10, this is the final principle. So if you missed them, go back to the beginning because this stuff is gold. Has changed my life and my business, I can promise you. So principle number 10 is clean up your messes and your incompletes. So this has come from the Jack Canfield Success Principles training that I've done. But this has been so transformational in terms of running along the lines of how you do anything is how you do everything. But if there's anything in your environment that causes you a little shot of stress, that gives you a little zap of cortisol into your bloodstream, anytime you think about it, anytime you see it, you need to sort it out because it is damaging. It is damaging to your business, to your well-being, to your life. And it's slow burning, insidious damage. It holds you back. This is about any area of your life where when you think about this particular topic, it doesn't serve you. So this is cleaning up your messes are complete. So it could be making peace in a relationship, even if you're not speaking to that person anymore, or maybe they've passed. I know a lot of people who have made peace with somebody who passed away instead of holding a grudge or holding a resentment or feeling angry. Make peace, even if it's with yourself, even if it's self-forgiveness, but you must make peace. Don't hold that grudge. That is an incomplete, that is just lowering your vibration all of the time in that area. Tidy that frustrating drawer, that shoe cupboard that every time you open it, you get, everything falls on top of you and you just ram it back in and promise yourself you'll clean it at the weekend and it never happens. Clean that shit up because it is damaging. It is your environment. And when it stops, it blocks energy flow. And pay those bills. Pay those bills. Deal with that stuff that is festering in the background. And I I own a flat, so I'll tell you this quick story as well, just to put it into context. I own a leasehold flat, which means that every year there's like a 99-year lease, and every year the value of the lease diminishes with every passing year. So you have to keep on top of the renewal of the lease. And it can cost thousands to renew a lease. And I didn't know how I was going to pay the thousands. So guess what I did? I just ignored it. I stuck my head in the sand. And every year I thought, I'll pay it next year. I'll renew it next year. I'll renew it next year. Knowing full well, but just blocking it out, that every year that 1,000 will become 2,000, will become 3. It just gets more and more expensive. And I didn't know this stuff really then, that how it was impacting me and how I was allowing that one thing to negatively affect every other area of my life, because I was holding on to lack mentality. I can't afford to pay it. I'm scared. You know, I don't want to face that bill. And it was actually a situation that was perpetuating credit card debt in other areas of my life. So when I addressed that, when I pulled my head out of the sand and finally made the call to the solicitor and addressed it, the money came. It just turned up. I didn't know how I was going to pay it, but by addressing it and facing it, the money showed up. I empowered myself. I took positive action. I cleaned that stuff up. And since then, there's been way more money flow. My credit cards are just, you know, they're just not an issue anymore. I didn't know the impact that that was having on me. So at whatever level, if you have an untidy garage, it doesn't matter, but whatever level, if you have something in your environment that is a niggle, that causes you stress, that is an underlying thing that you know full well you are ignoring, but at your peril, that becomes a priority to sort out and clear up. And you will be amazed at the difference that makes to your well-being, your sense of empowerment, the fact that now I've handled this, I can handle anything. Again, how you do anything is how you do everything. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this training. If you missed the start, go back to the beginning. There's lots of gems there to start at the beginning. So thank you so much for watching. These are my top 10 success principles for increasing prosperity, productivity, and passion. Take notes, go back over it, take some notes, and make sure that you implement these into 2019 to really get your year starting on the best terms possible. So thank you for watching, guys. Sending you a ton of love. Have a great rest of your day, and I shall speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.